The room today, we have Carolyn Swift Holden, who's going to give a talk on why creatives will be the next tech giants. So that's the current information for this room, for this on the website. So hopefully you're in the right room. It's not Eric that'll be here, it's Caroline. So briefly, I'm going to introduce Caroline, then she's going to get us off to a rock and roll start on our first session for the day. So Caroline Swift Holden is a creative technologist with a background spanning startups, AI, venture capital, advertising, comedy, and film. She told me before we started she actually did stand-up comedy in New York. So she has a bubbling personality and a lot of energy. She helped sell a data AI startup to Snowflake in 4 months as head of marketing, scaled a grocery delivery app 10,000% during the first 3 months of the pandemic, and even built and shut down her own social real estate app. Today she runs Swift Start Go, a media platform and consultancy exploring the intersection of AI, creativity, and the future of work. Caroline is also the co-founder of Minnesota Women in AI, a growing community of innovators, technologists, and creatives advancing responsible AI adoption across industry. Let's welcome Caroline. Thank
you. All right, hi everybody, can you see me okay? Yep. I'm not too short? Okay, everyone's in the right room? You're not looking for Eric? Okay, dreams come true. All right, well, welcome everybody. I'm so excited that you are here today for my talk. In case you are unaware, I was not going to be giving this talk until late Friday night, so I have not perfectly curated it for the Applied AI conference. This is going to be a bit marketing and sales heavy, but it's still going to be a fun time. So if you are, a super AI nerd and you're like, oh, I can't believe this is so absolutely lame, I completely understand. Feel free to sneak out whenever you get a chance, all right? But first things first, I do have bad news for you, actually. More bad news. So terrible, right? It's actually time for a pop quiz. Okay, so I'm gonna hop off the microphone right here. So I want to get a better idea of who is here in the room today, and also what are the vibes when it comes to AI and you guys? So can I hear a few, what jobs do you guys have? Can people just start shouting them out for me, please?
Product owner.
Product owner.
Software engineer.
Software engineer. What else we got?
Marketing consultant.
Marketing consultant. What was that?
Instructional designer.
Instructional designer. What else?
Middle management.
Middle management. Listen, we would never make it without middle management, sir. All right. Anything else? Can we all start yelling, please? I would
Software
really appreciate
engineer.
it. Software. Okay. Raise your hand if you're software. All right. Raise your hand if you're sales. Oh my gosh, none of you guys. My God. Okay. Marketing. Product. Something else. Hi, Allison. All right, amazing. And we're gonna do a quick little vibe check. We're at Applied AI, so I assume that you guys are either super fans or curious. But who here really, really loves AI? Is anyone super? Okay, we got some people who likes it. Who likes it? All right. Does anyone here hate it? Good, you came to the right conference. All right. Is anybody skeptical or nervous? Roll out. Okay, a few people. Who thinks we're in a bubble? Who thinks we're in a bubble? Financial bubble with AI. All right, doesn't have to be a tech bubble, it's just all right, cool. All right, well, thank you so much, everybody, for answering the questions, giving me a better idea who's in the room, and let's get started. All right, so today we're gonna be talking, first, I'm Carolyn Holden. As you heard, I helped sell a data AI startup in 4 months. I helped scale a grocery delivery app 10,000% in the first 3 months of the pandemic, and I helped run Twin Cities Startup Week in 2 months. Now, I haven't had a big career win in 1 month yet, but I promise I'm working on it. I will get back to you when we get to that. And as Paul mentioned earlier, it's true. I used to be a comedian, so in New York for 6 years, doing all sorts of shenanigans. But today, we're gonna be talking about why will creatives be the next tech giants, all right? And basically, for decades, the world rewarded people who worked like cogs in a machine, right? Okay, we all know this. Tech skills were highly, highly praised, silos were strictly maintained, and predictability was king. But now we're entering a new era, one where repetitive, predictable work is automated, and the people who will define the future are the ones who can imagine what's next. So in an AI economy, where technical skills are less valuable, ideas, design, and humanity become the next must-have assets. So AI systems work best, I think, when used by great communicators, people with sharp critical thinking skills and great taste. And I don't know anyone who has more of those combined skills than creative individuals. And by creative individuals, I don't just mean artists, I mean anybody who has the vision and the commitment to see creative ideas through, all right? So as you all know, a lot of this we already saw in the keynote this morning, we are going through an unprecedented AI revolution. But what you might not be aware of is how big the stakes really are these days. AI is right now driving nearly all US economic growth. All right, 92% of US GDP growth in 2025 was driven by investment in AI infrastructure. So think data centers, AI, energy, cooling, all of that stuff. 92% of US GDP growth has been in just that this year. That is crazy, okay? AI investment surpassed consumer spending as the top contributor to GDP growth. And globally, it could add $15 trillion to the GDP by 2030. Without AI, US economic growth would have been nearly flat in 2025. And this massive investment has brought massive change. We are seeing the fastest ever adoption rates for new tech. The gentleman who spoke before had a very different number than I had. He said 90% of US employees using AI at work. I have 40. I'm not sure if I made a typo or he did. Do we think it's 90 or 40? What do we think?
It's 40.
You think it's 40?
Yeah.
He said 90 and I was like, what?
Yeah.
That seems unrealistic. All right, cool. I'm glad we're all in agreement that my numbers are better than the professor's. All right, so 40%, we have decided, of US employees are using AI at work, and nearly 80%, same stat as the gentleman before, of organizations are using AI in 2024. Now it's 2025. We assume that number has gone up. All right, now this is a massive amount of change in an incredibly short period of time, only rivaled by the internet boom and the railroad. All right, this rate of growth is something that, you know, this is the real deal. This is really crazy. All right, and with massive change comes massive concerns. How is AI affecting education? What about mental health or AI psychosis, if you guys have heard of that? Will AI take all of our jobs? And I know we have a lot of engineers in the room, but for creatives, we have a few very specific questions, right? So how is AI going to change social media for better or worse? Will AI slop take over absolutely everything? How are we gonna make sure that people are compensated by tech giants and startups who have ingested their life's work? Engineers, this includes you too, because if you are upset about AI and IP and copyright issues, you're right. We are in the middle of an unprecedented theft, the likes of which have never been seen. And of course, how is AI going to affect energy use and climate change? Now, these are all really big and messy problems, and sadly, we are not going to be dressing them all today. That would be absolutely ridiculous. We don't have time for that, okay? But I do have some thoughts here in case you wanna take a photo about how I've been thinking about things lately. But in case you're curious, but the one that I am going to address off the top is AI, energy, and climate, because I know that for probably all of us, or most of us, this is something that we are most passionate about. The numbers are wild, and they're not good. But there is some good news on the investment and innovation front. There are a lot of really amazing people who are building really incredible companies that are making a big change in this space. But at the same time, we need to put pressure on these organizations and on the government because we can and we should build better systems. We have the technology. A lot of it is really cost effective, especially solar panels. We can and should be doing better. We need to advocate for this, okay? But with all of these conversations, while important, they can also make AI feel like one big scary boogeyman, right? Which can make it scary to explore or experiment. I know a lot of my friends are too scared or too angry to even try, right? So
I know we have a lot of engineers in the room. This is a presentation for marketers, but we're gonna quickly say, like, what is AI? What do we actually need to know? We're gonna skim through this and we're gonna get into the meat of it, all right? So AI is short for artificial intelligence, which is the capacity of computers to exhibit or simulate intelligent behavior, and has been around since 1955. I think a lot of you guys know this. It's been around for a long time. There are also a lot of different types of AI, but the one that everyone is talking about these days is generative AI, which generates everything from text, images, video, etc. But at the end of the day, AI is just really good at statistics. They can read all kinds of data in seconds, identify patterns, anomalies, in addition to making predictions and generating content based on that data. Now, there is no evidence that AI can think or reason, and we have no reason to believe that it is conscious or will become conscious anytime soon. You guys can debate with me about that afterwards, but that's how I'm feeling about that, and I think a lot of other people are feeling about that these days. But effectively, these days, AI is just statistics that finally learned how to express itself. All right, and the more data that these systems have, the better the output is. And that's actually why AI hallucinates. It was trained to guess the answers to questions, whether it had the answers or not. And it always guesses, even if it doesn't know. That said, it has an exceptionally hard time with statistically unusual prompts. For example, it took me 9 whole prompts to convince ChatGPT to make an image of a house on a surfboard with no legs. All right, and now if you can see here in the caption above, the one with the house actually on the surfboard, I really had to ask very nicely to convince ChatGPT to put the house on the surfboard, okay? And that's why AI is really bad at breaking news or truly novel ideas. If it doesn't have enough data, it cannot give reliable results, all right? But the one thing that AI, I think, I don't know if you guys have a different opinion, that AI is probably best at is scientific research. Why? Well, scientific research is all about conducting experiments so that you can collect and analyze data, all right? So to answer hypotheses about the world. And since these systems can process data so much faster than humans, we have been able to accelerate scientific research from decades to months. And this has caused multiple technological revolutions at once. Obviously, this includes AI, right? But this also includes industries like biotech, energy, and robotics. Each of these industries are booming and are making exponential leaps. And, you know, the stories around this are crazy. We have experts talking about more diseases being cured, massive reductions in carbon emissions, and companies are now officially selling robots to do your laundry, do your dishes, and complete any other in-home chores for you. You can buy this robot for $20,000 right now. It will be in your home in 2026. All right? This is happening. This was announced last week. Congratulations, everybody. Finally, somebody can do the dishes. Oh, goodness. They're really needed at my house right now. My kitchen, ooh, war zone at the moment. All right, so the good news is we are seeing AI make an incredible improvements in drug discovery, outperforming doctors by over 20% in diagnostics. We're seeing better climate change modeling, better self-driving vehicles, and incredible leaps in computer-brain interfaces. And we are even going to be able to communicate with dolphins. Okay, what do they want to talk to us about? I don't know, but I suspect that they have a lot of questions about Lisa Frank's dolphins from the 90s. All right, there is a tremendous amount of good news in AI, and we have just barely scratched the surface. And I believe that creatives are going to win in this AI economy because AI systems, as I said before, and I will say again, work best when used by people with excellent communication skills, lots of ideas, critical thinking skills, and great taste, right? The barrier of entry is lower than ever, and what is crazy is that techies keep inventing jargon for things that creatives are good at, all right? So prompt engineering is just writing clear instructions. Okay, granted, writing to an AI is a little bit like writing to an alien with no common sense, but at the end of the day, that's all it is, right? And we have concepts like custom GPTs, vibe coding, AI automations, and AI agents, all of these tools and processes that you can use with little to no technical expertise. Literally, just having good writing skills, good communication skills is all you need. You no longer need to be an engineer, sorry engineers, I love you, or an MBA or an expert to build software tools. Anyone can use these tools to create content, get expert level advice and feedback, and decipher invites in any kind of data that could be used, that used to take months or years in minutes. All right, anyone can build, and this means that those people with the best ideas and an intuitive understanding of how people think and how and understand how AI works are going to be the new winners. All right, so let's get into the meat of things. All right, what should you use AI for today? All right, again, this is mostly for marketers, but if people want to shout out their favorite things at the end, we can totally do that. So I like to use AI to review hundreds of AI call transcripts to create customer personas, better customer personas, and identify their pain points and figure out what messaging is working best, right? Similarly, you can also use AI to review every piece of marketing a brand has ever made, identify patterns of what worked and what didn't, and what opportunities you may have overlooked, right? And of course, we're gonna hope the GIF works. The GIF has not worked all day. You can also use AI to create impossible visual campaigns that would have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to film. My friends Dave and Jordan in New York, who have been film producers for years and years and years, made these images and many, many more and are building campaigns for what, 1/100th of the cost that it used to cost before. So Araya Video, in case you're looking for some really awesome AI filmmakers. So does anybody else have any AI use cases that they've been really overwhelmed, like, and enthusiastic about? No? Oh man.
Well, I did use AI to help generate the logo for the horn club that my husband has formed, and it was like the only time ChatGPT was willing to make an image. And it's like, I'm spinning, but it's absolutely perfect. It actually matches the brand of what they're doing, which is old world in the new world.
Amazing, creating logos for horn clubs. Horn clubs?
Yep.
Exciting. Hunting?
Hunting horns.
Hunting horns. Anybody else? Anybody else have a favorite thing that they use that they didn't think was going to be possible with AI?
I'm taking notes right now by just having this little device record the entire day. And
Yeah?
dump all the notes into my.
I love it. What is that device called? So he has a little device that's recording all of the talks today, so he can keep notes. What is it called?
This is a limitless pendant.
A limitless pendant. And we're going to talk about those kinds of devices in a second. Anybody else? Yeah, Paula?
I'll give a whole list later on, but I use it for everything from getting dressed, all my meal planning, for letters for difficult discussions, I use it for everything.
Yeah, amazing. Listen, Paula really does use it for everything. She's a princess after all. All right, so what are AI tools that you can use today? I'm so glad you asked. This is my tech stack in case you're interested and want to take a photo. We will be sharing these slides afterwards, so if you need it, we can get it to you. But these are all the tools that I've been playing around with for the last year or so that I can remember. I've tried a few other ones that I forgot to put on here, but figured you guys might want to take a peek at that. But all right, that's what we can do today, but what are we going to be able to do tomorrow? What is just around the corner? Because yes, we can create content for super cheap. Again, this is a talk for marketers, but that is only just the beginning, right? One of the biggest advantages for using AI in marketing is creating hyper-personalized ads and experiences at scale. So Cadbury Cream in India recently launched a campaign where they were able to personalize thousands of videos, all right, and make it so that this actor was saying the name of everybody's local store where they could get Cadbury chocolate, all right? I know a lot of you guys have not worked in ad production. I started my career at McCann working on ads. We would maybe at most have like 3 different ads, and making more was like a real pain or just like a whole mess. And they were able to get this guy to like advertise every single local convenience store in India. Holy cow, guys. All right. And similarly, in a chocolatey vein, Nutella also sold out of 7 million AI customized jars of chocolate, of Nutella in record time. Why are you guys giggling?
So
We love it.
good.
I'm so glad you love him. I did not know who he was. What's his name?
Shah Rukh Khan.
Shah Rukh Khan.
Is he an
Amazing.
Shanti Om? Yes, okay. I
Guys, he's big in Bollywood.
He's a great actor.
He's big in Bollywood. We got the crazy people in the front. Please ignore them.
I knew
All
he
right.
looked familiar.
And we also have virtual influencers, digital twins, and AI avatars. They are picking up steam. Personally, if we're thinking about this in a marketing context, I would approach with caution or only in very specific contexts because a lot of people are turned off by these.
Yeah.
So it's cool that the tech works. It can be useful, especially I'm a video content creator. If I mess up a line and want to redo it, maybe an AI, a digital twin could do that for me, but not everybody likes that. All right, another thing is VR and AR are also built on AI systems, and now that it's so much easier to build digital projects, we are starting to see many virtual try-on apps like these. All right, I don't know if you can completely see it, but basically you can try on different shoes. There was a Nike campaign. And if you're looking for someone who can help with more AR, VR things, my good friend Anthony Corrado here in town has been doing a lot of really, really cool things in this space. So I would definitely check him out as well. AI agents or systems that can conduct digital tasks for you are going to be leading to big changes in e-commerce, especially for things like recurring purchases like groceries. And so the question that we need to be asking ourselves is not, when is this going to happen or how do we make it work, blah, blah, blah. The question we need to be asking ourselves is how are marketers, not all of you guys, going to persuade AI bots to purchase your products, and is that decision making different than a human's? Right? What's the psychology of convincing an AI agent to buy your product versus a human's normal way of purchasing a product, right? So next is ambient AI, and so Greg was in it for the win when he had his little device over here. So ambient AI, or systems that are always listening and anticipating your needs, are already beginning to emerge. Granted, I think Greg's he can turn off and on, but the idea is that we're going to start having little devices like the one that he has that are always going to be listening and then doing things for us, becoming personal assistants and completing tasks for us without us needing to ask. All right, and that's what they're talking about building at, you guys probably, we got all the nerds in here, right? I love you guys. But you guys probably saw OpenAI had a deal with a former Apple designer, Jony Ive. That's what they are hoping to be building in that space, all right? And while we're already seeing some ambient AI style apps on the market today, there aren't that many of them, or if they are, they're just not that popular yet. But one that is fairly popular is Starbucks' latest ordering app. It anticipates what you want based off of your previous order history. So it figures out that, you just want a dark venti coffee. You don't want anything else, right? And it will personalize and get your order up when you first open it based off of your previous order history, where you are in the world, and the weather where you are in the world. So if it's really, really cold out, it's going to give you a hot coffee. If it's really, really hot out, it's going to give you an iced coffee, right? Or if it knows that for breakfast you really like to eat the little egg soufflés like I do, it's going to make sure that that is going to be on the app when you open it, right? Or maybe you're going to have a smart fridge, which can scan your items or create a grocery list for you based off of what is in your fridge and reorder necessities for you. This tech already exists. Okay, so when we're thinking about how are we building products, or how are we making campaigns or trying to build a brand, think about what are ways that you can save time for your customers through automated ambient strategies. Because in reality, we're having marketers who are throwing ads on refrigerators now. I think Samsung did that and a few others. And I don't know about you, I really don't want to look at an ad when I'm in the kitchen. That's kind of a waste of time. But if my smart fridge can make sure that I don't run out of milk, oh my gosh, that is a useful time-saving thing that's actually really helpful, right? So we need to be thinking about how are we solving people's problems and not how do we put ads on every single screen that you can see. Right? So similarly, and I think this is really cool, we also have some real-time adaptive experiences. So I want you guys to look at this guy right here. So Delta recently partnered with Detroit Airport to build a digital screen that enabled dozens of people to view their own personalized flight and gate info without seeing other people's info. See? So as it goes around, You guys see that?
Wow. That's crazy.
So depending on where you're standing, your phone is, connected to the screen, probably through the Delta app or something similar, and it's able to make it so that depending on where you're standing, you can see only your information and nobody else's. Isn't that so cool? All right, and this is really cool tech, but it also solves a problem. All right, think about it. If you're in an airport and you're in a hurry because, oh my gosh, you're late and you didn't know that the TSA line was going to take as long as it did, and you're like, oh gosh, my gate changed, where is it? And you're looking on the line and there's 100 flights that you're looking for and you're trying to look for the right city, and then you hope that there aren't like 5 New York cities in the list and that you get the right one. To be able to just go up to it and have it show exactly where you need to go, that's a problem solver, right? But here's the much bigger question. If creative people now have more time and more levers that they can pull because the barrier of entry of building these types of things is so much lower, what comes next, right? We have a lot of companies right now who are getting rid of customer support people, salespeople, marketers, people with great communication skills, strong critical thinking skills, and really big ideas and great taste, right? These are the exact people we should be keeping. These are the exact people who understand their clients the best and are able to come up with ideas that are actually going to be game changing. And then they can work with our lovely engineers in the room, right? To figure out, how do we build this at scale? How do we make this even better, all right? And so how can we transform our marketing teams or our customer support teams or our sales team or any more people-oriented teams into AI innovation teams that can help influence broader business opportunities, all right? We do not have to work in silos. AI does not just have to be for the engineers, all right? For conferences like this, we really need to be welcoming people from other departments, all right? And engineers, you're not in trouble, I promise. You're absolutely fabulous, and we love it. We're so happy that you're here. But this is the type of direction that we're going in, and so we need to make sure to be welcoming and bring people in, okay? We can expand, collaborate, and experiment together, right? And reminder, just because you can use AI for something doesn't mean you should. All right, think like a startup founder. I've said this before, I'm gonna say it again. Can you solve problems? How can you be helpful? What can you do to become a useful part of somebody's day instead of an annoyance? All right, that counts for marketers who are putting ads on refrigerators, and that counts for engineers who are over-engineering situations, right? How can we design better? All right, so what does this mean for all of us here today? Well, what do we need to be thinking about? Well, we are going to see a lot more AI slop or bad AI content. How much more? Well, as of a year ago, November of 2024, AI-generated content officially surpassed human-made articles, so written content. So we can also assume that images has already passed that. Video has been a little bit slower just because the cost to making video is expensive. But now with AI Sora 2, I'm pretty sure we're getting there, right? Now, older people and children are most likely to engage with AI slop and misinformation. But listen, I hate to say it, because we're all the cool AI people who know all the cool AI things, right? But we have probably already fallen for AI slop, including these adorable trampoline bunnies. All right, did you guys see this online? Did you fall for it? I fell for it. I was so embarrassed, my God. All right. But right now, AI companies are prioritizing attention over everything else, all right? And that is opening the door for some questionable decisions. OpenAI is now planning on allowing their chatbots to generate erotica. Interesting choice. And dozens of startups are trying to build AI friends for adults and children. I don't like this. I don't think anybody actually likes this. Maybe you guys like it. I don't know. I certainly don't. But so why are these companies prioritizing this? We already talked about AI being best for scientific research. Why are these companies engaging with these types of areas? Well, the reality is OpenAI and their competitors, especially the startups, less so the big tech ones, are flailing a bit financially. They're spending an incredible amount of money and they are not earning enough money to cover their costs, right? And so they are prioritizing where they can make money the fastest and also capture our attention for as long as possible. Sam Altman in particular, he really wants everybody to be paying attention to AI 24/7, right? He doesn't doesn't want eyes off the ball. But every time we see new tech, there is an inevitable backlash. And the good news is that this backlash is going to lead us to opportunities to prioritize our humanity. YouTube is currently trying to reduce AI slop, and they just announced a way last week for creators to get rid of deepfakes, which is great news. There are a couple of entrepreneurs who are trying to build new human-only social media platforms so that we're not, surrounded by bots all the times. Now, how will we verify that they're only humans? Well, I'm not completely sure how we're gonna pull that off, but Sam Altman already has ideas with a super creepy eyeball scanning startup.
Oh, great.
That's exciting. And because companies are racing to automate as much as they can, the human touch will become the new luxury experience, right? We are going to be looking for brands to becoming more authentic and more human, okay? So AI also, as we mentioned earlier, can't come up with novel ideas, but you can. Use that to your advantage, right? Focus on building brand and unique human experiences. Because when it's hard to know what's real, people gravitate towards what makes us feel human and alive. And I skipped a slide, look at that. All right, so we are on the precipice of incredible change. The tools we use, the jobs we hold, and the way we create are all being rewritten in real time. Every generation has faced a moment like this. The printing press, the camera, the internet, and each time it wasn't the machines that shaped the future, it was the people, right? So this decade will belong to the people who know how to turn imagination into impact, all right? So keep learning, keep creating, and keep being the weird, brilliant humans that AI can never replace. Because the future of tech isn't being built for creatives. It is being built by them, and that includes all of you. Thank you so much, everyone.
We have about 10 minutes for Q&A. If anyone has any questions they'd like to
Yeah,
to
and
ask.
I'm also gonna throw some QR codes up here. I promise I'm not selling anything because I'm not very good at making money, but I make a lot of content on AI, creativity, and the future of work. So if you wanna sign up for my newsletter, it's right here and it's free. If you are a lady and you are looking to meet other ladies in AI here in the area, oh my gosh, I accidentally started a networking group. It's very silly. We have a great time. We have an event on Wednesday if you wanna come. And I post on LinkedIn entirely too much, so that's another opportunity for you there. But yeah, does anybody have any questions? Oh my gosh, dead silence.
How many AI tools have you used today?
Today,
It's 10:17.
none.
Whoa.
Well, okay, correction. I have not gone out of my way to use an AI specific tool, but I definitely used things that were probably powered by AI. So Google Maps, that's machine learning for you right there. So I did use Google Maps this morning. I used a hairdryer, I'm sure. Somebody used science on that. I put on clothes. Lots of clothes are use AI for things. I drank some orange juice. I'm sure something had to do with that packaging. But did I open ChatGPT yet today? No, I have not. Yes.
You mentioned data privacy.
I did not mention data privacy. You're right. That's like a whole can of worms. Is there something specific you want me to talk about with data privacy?
I mean, how do you put the genie back in the bottle? What happens if all of a sudden there's a government switch?
Yeah.
Or just people using it have decided, I don't want this anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a backlash.
Yeah, there is.
Because this is bordering on beyond creepy.
I agree. And a lot of the things I mentioned here, I do think are really creepy. Again, So the eyeball scanning startup, I can't remember the name of it. Does anyone remember? Is it Human or Life or something? I don't remember. That one, they're literally scanning our eyeballs to figure out what our eyeball shape is so that they can verify whether we're humans so that we can get access to like banking information and things like that. Ambient AI feels very Big Brother to me. Super, I don't know that I want that. I personally don't like have an Alexa. I do have a Google Home, but I don't think it's currently plugged in anymore. Like those things are kind of not my jam. I'm a pretty private person. I'm actually going to be recording a podcast next week. I think Paula's going to be there too. Yeah, next Wednesday. That's going to be talking about cybersecurity. So I'll be sharing a lot of those thoughts on a podcast in a couple weeks. If you want to check that out, I'll, just follow me and you'll find it eventually. But I'm always on the more cautious side, right? So I have not tried any of the AI browsers. I haven't bothered trying Perplexity Comet or OpenAI's brand new Atlas because there are a lot of cybersecurity firms in there where people are using white text or black text on websites to inject cybersecurity, you know what I mean, making it so that they can break into your computer from there. So I've not bothered with that because that seems a little like the risk is a little bit too high for me. I also have not told ChatGPT who my husband is, and it thinks my husband is Luke. My husband is not Luke. I'm not going to tell you who it is in case anybody's recording this. But I enjoy having a fake husband named Luke that ChatGPT has made this whole narrative around. And so I think it really depends on the organization. In a marketing context, a lot of the risk is not tremendously risky because you're thinking about what is messaging that we're putting out into the universe, right? If we're using AI call transcripts, is there sensitive information in there? Is there a way to anonymize it? Or how sensitive is the information anyways? Most of the time, if you're doing sales calls with clients, you're not getting their most sensitive information. You're just getting the stuff that they pitch to everybody anyway, right? So I think it's really by a case-by-case basis. And if you are in a more regulated industry, you should be really careful. And I mean, that's why OpenAI and all these companies are struggling with advancing in those kinds of spaces, right? Because lawyers are saying, don't do this yet, don't do this yet, use it in a micro moment. So definitely be safe, but it really depends on what your job is. Yeah.
But I think from a creative perspective, and intellectual property, the ability to opt out needs to be there.
Yeah.
As an example, my daughter has a YouTube channel where she shares her art, and YouTube started putting AI filters on top of her art without her permission. So she pulled it, right? So she no longer posts, but she's like, I did not want them to put an AI filter on my art that I was using to share. And how do you opt out of those?
Yeah. No, and also YouTube or Google and OpenAI ingested everything on YouTube.
Yep.
into their systems.
Yeah.
So, which again, if you've been a YouTuber for the past 15 years, 20 years, there are people who've been doing this for 20 years, guys. That's their life's work.
Yeah.
That has been put in there. So how can we opt out, or how can we, at a bare minimum, be compensated?
Yes.
Right. So she was talking about IP and copyright, in case you couldn't tell what I was saying. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns, critiques? Did I say anything incorrect?
You mentioned the digital twin and sort of virtual agents, which are creepy, and I think most people react poorly to. As a marketer, how do you think about using generative AI and where the line is between where something is going to be like that brand experience that's a wildly impossible campaign versus this will be immediately identifiable as gross?
Yeah.
How do you think about the contexts and how your audience might react?
So in my own personal work, I haven't done it yet, but I'm planning on creating an AI avatar or virtual twin because I do so much video work, and I enjoy making video work and whatnot, but I also sometimes get sick and can't record, or more embarrassing is I sometimes get cold sores and my face looks scary, and I don't like having that on the internet, so there will be weeks where I can't film. And that is really upsetting if I'm trying to keep a schedule, right? And so something I saw another AI content creator do was she created a digital twin of herself, but the digital twin always wears the same hat. And so you know that if you are watching a video of her in this particular hat, it is an AI video, and she also introduces the video by saying, hey, this is the AI version of me. And so that's how she approaches it. So that's how I'm planning on approaching it whenever I get around to that. It was actually interesting. I had a goofy conversation with my intern the other day who made an AI avatar of me because I was talking about AI avatars in a video and I didn't know it, and I was watching the video, so I was like, why does this section look weird? And she's like, well, that's the AI you. And I'm like, what? You did what? And I had to be like, no, we're not doing that this time, but when we do that, we're going to have me in like a very specific look, so we always know that this is AI Carolyn and not real me. So that's how I'm thinking about it. I think it's better to always say that it's AI at the front, personally, in a marketing context. And I think in this day and age, you can also turn that into a funny marketing moment, right? You could turn it into part of the copy, like, this is AI generated because there's no way we could afford this, right? If you make it part of the joke and part of the shtick, I think that helps as well, right? Like, how is AI generated content, especially video, which can be very confusing, especially for older people to realize that that's what they're seeing, right? How can we make sure that they are fully aware of what's happening so that they know that they can still trust you? Because again, like our keynote was saying, like, trust is a really big factor. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, maybe you could comment on how AI is so good at targeting, kind of, that people get backlash on that. I remember the story a few years ago of Target actually monitoring purchases, what they were looking for, and
Right.
some teenager was looking for certain things and was able to predict that she was pregnant.
Yep.
Yeah, and then sent that off to the parents, and it was a security thing, people were upset. And I was just thinking about your Cadbury example there, where they did like a quadrillion videos. I think anybody would look at that and go, I know this. There's no way Cadbury had the money for Jimmy's 5-cent corner store to have a video specifically to those guys. So you're gonna kind of know there's that fakeness there, so like they're trying to hard kind of thing. And then the last thing is, I think anybody here's finance is you're talking about something you haven't talked about for years, and suddenly 10 minutes later, Facebook
Yeah.
gives you an ad for that very thing. Like, I don't know, am I crazy or not? So
Yeah.
you kind of get that, like, they're really zeroing in on you, and I get a little bit of backlash myself, even though I'm a total big adopter, I love AI, but sometimes it gets a little too close. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, okay, so the question, if I were to shorten it, is basically, what do I think about AI and really hyper-personalized targeting and how that's kind of creepy?
Yeah.
What was the second half?
Just how does that affect things? I mean, you can keep getting more and more focused, so you know exactly the person you're talking to.
Right.
The product you want to sell them, but because you're so dead on, they're like, no.
Yeah, I mean,
How did you know?
so I'm creeped out by that too. And I don't love it, but the reality is everybody's doing it. And there's not really a good way to get around it. What I think is interesting about the Twin Cities is if you're trying to do targeted marketing for like a specific population in the Twin Cities, you can't like break it between Minneapolis and St. Paul. It's all considered one metro area. Whereas if you're in New York City, you can break it down by neighborhood. So you can say, oh, they're in the Upper East Side and they're in Yorkville, which is a distinct specific section of the Upper East Side, right? So this stuff is improving all the time. I think, I don't know. The stats basically show that the more targeted it is, the more likely people are going to respond to the ads. But I know I personally, when I see something where I'm like, ooh, that's on the nose, I don't always click, but I also have a habit of That's not true. I like to click on all the ads. I click on so many ads. It's kind of silly. I don't ever buy anything. My Instagram keeps sending me like outfits that are thousands of dollars, and I'm like, oh, that's so pretty. And then I click on it. I'm like, aww. I think my Instagram thinks I'm like really, really got a lot of money, and I really don't. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't have a good answer for you other than I agree I don't like it. Well, no, I do got a better answer for you. I think it's really a shame that the government has absolutely no legislation on this.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's actually kind of absurd. And now that all of this is happening, right, I think things are going to get really crazy. And I think it's absolutely insane. We're going to be biased for a moment, and I apologize if this offends anyone, but I think it's insane how old everybody in the government is and that we need to get younger people. Because the reality is some of these people don't know how Facebook works, and that's embarrassing. Facebook's been around for, half my life maybe at this point. I mean, and I'm in my 30s, I'm not, 20. It's been around for 20 years. They need to get with the program. This is stupid. So yeah, that's how I feel. Hot takes, Carolyn Holden. All right, do we have to go? One more?
One more question, we'll go.
Oh, and you were raising your hand earlier.
I can wait too.
You can wait? Okay. Yeah.
So creatives and design, many of them I feel are going to, or what I understand, going to Midjourneys and using Gemini or some ChatGPT. They're trying to create imagery, but they walk away. They don't stay with it.
Yeah.
It's not a language that they're accustomed to using.
Sure.
What do you see about that? Where do you see that evolution going about how people are using it to actually design?
Yeah, so two things. First, part of the reason that this talk is structured the way it is it's designed for creatives and for marketers. So for engineers, you might have been wondering why I was like so positive, but also talking about like the negatives. Creative people in general, especially in the arts, the content that they're seeing about AI online is extremely negative. It's about the climate change, it's about the IP laws. And so we have a whole generation of people who are my age or younger who are actively trying to figure out how do we defeat AI because AI is destroying everything. All right, and so the creative people I know especially fall in that camp. I have had a few friends yell at me, and I explained to them that I am not somebody who is like AI is the savior of the world. Again, we need legislation. We need these government individual legislators to actually do things about this so that we can live in a better system and so that we can use better tech for building data centers and the energy cooling systems that are needed to provide it, right? So a lot of what I do when I talk to creatives is I talk about what you have missed is that like you're hearing about losing your job because that's what's happening. You're hearing about all these negatives. You're not hearing the positives, and you're not hearing what's the next level, what can I do now? And they're not necessarily open to the possibility of, oh, I can build an app now, or oh, I can build a business now, or oh, I don't need to work at Disney anymore. I can build my own studio by using social media and by using ChatGPT to help coach me on how to build a business, something that I never thought was previously possible. So a lot of what I do when I talk to creatives is I try to get them to open their minds a bit about what is possible and how like AI can be useful. When it gets into design specifically, I think using AI tools to come up with design is great for people who are not designers to actually make designs. But if you're a creative person, I think it's a better way to accelerate the brainstorming period and figure out what you want, and then maybe you use it or maybe you don't, right? So I've been working on a few branding things recently where I've been making my own designs. I'll go on to ChatGPT or a different AI tool, but mostly ChatGPT because it's the one I pay for. And I will ask it to pitch all of these different ideas, then I ask it to generate all these images, and then I refine and I refine and refine. And then when I decide that I like it, I go into Canva and then I recreate it because I want to be able to move all the pieces. I don't want to just use like the static image, right? So that's how I use it. So I do end up playing with it myself, but I use it primarily for the brainstorming process. I assume when these tools get better, there probably is already a tool that's out there that then I can get, that eventually will have like a Photoshop style AI image editor where I can move all of the individual pieces, and that will be great. But I'm not paying for that right now, and I don't know how good they are anyway. So, yeah, you had a question. I know we have to go, but she raised it quite some time ago.
It's not really a question, it's more of a comment. So the question about, so Lisa Abendroth, I teach emerging tech and business here. I think that there's the question about where is the line and where is it creepy, comes
Right.
back to where is the value add, and going back to thinking about solving problems and the trade-offs that you're making. So, for example, on the whole having a video avatar, there's a company called Synthesia that can make, you go into the studio, you do like 15 minutes, and then it can make all these great videos of you. Students know they're fake, but guess what? It can automatically translate to their native language, and it improves learning. So it isn't creepy anymore when it adds value. So
Right.
think about it, that privacy, personalization, where is it, or audit fake, where is it adding value, what problem is it solving? That was just my comment.
Could you guys all hear that? I thought that was a great comment. I'll just repeat the general idea, which is that it's okay if it looks fake, if it's providing value. And I think the language thing in particular, I have many friends who are international or English is not their first language, who are able to use these tools to learn English faster. I have friends who are dyslexic who are now using AI to copy check their work, help them write way faster, and get them through a lot of the anxiety of having to write and knowing that like their letters are not always in the right order, right? So these tools are, it's all about, are you using them in the right way? Are you using them tastefully? Again, we talked about communicators, critical thinking, taste, right? Taste is so important. What is something that is going to resonate with people that people are going to think is a really great idea? Right? I think that's a good spot to end.
Thank you. Great. Great. Very much. Please keep all